This is the second installment of a 3-part video series I have made where my girlfriend and I travel to Japan. And in this video, I will be focusing on the photos I took in Kyoto. Once we arrived in Kyoto, this is where I truly felt we were in another world, and my photography showed. I stopped thinking as much, and I just enjoyed it. Kyoto, from the very first glance, became my favorite city in the world. While a lot of the areas were not accessible, right away the combination of nature and city reminded me of home. And yet, it was so distant culturally that I could not even compute how different things were. We started off our journey in the subway in Kyoto, as you were not allowed to bring suitcases or bags in buses in this city. The sounds of the subway felt like sounds from a video game. We left our bags in the hotel, as we could not check in until 3 p.m, and we headed towards a temple at the top of a hill. Right outside of our hotel, a photographic opportunity arose. From afar, a man stared down a stork that was sitting next to him. This photo is one of my favorite moments I captured in Japan. It seems like a photo that should be on a postcard. We came up to a hill while wandering. We were headed to a different temple, but this hill happened to be along the way, and there were lots of people. The way up was fascinating, everyone wearing traditional clothing for their own personal travel photos, and it happened to be the most amount of people I've seen in one place that was not a sporting event since the pandemic. Going up the hill, we saw a rich man with his significant other being pulled up the hill by a carriage. I thought this was particularly otherworldly, as this is not something I've seen in my North American life. I snapped this picture of it, and I quite like this one. Finally, after a tiring climb, once at the top, I took a few more photos. The first one of my girlfriend looking over the edge of the cliff into the city, which is my favorite of all the photos I took in Japan. Another of the rooftops, which carve out the sky and the mountains in the background. This day was my best day for photography in Japan. I liked every photo I took. While having lunch at an American-style cafe, which in Japan really just means a coffee shop restaurant that serves Italian dishes apparently, as well as some traditional Kyoto food. There was a large window that allowed to see down the street, and from here I got some nice pictures as well. The next day, we went to the Museum of Transportation and got to see all types of different trains in Japan. While the museum was orchestrated for kids, it seemed, it was still fun to see, and I managed to get the Shinkansen train we rode in miniature version for my dad, who is an admirer of train infrastructure and trains. Not too much later in the day, we stumbled upon a temple in the middle of the city. In this temple, there was a market that happens every weekend, and it was much larger than any market I've seen in Canada. Not even 2 blocks away, one of the larger malls in Kyoto stood. We entered it, and my girlfriend was in heaven. There were so many gachapons in the mall, as well as other toy stores and games. I envisioned Phoebe Bridgers' song, Kyoto, while being here. I got bored at the temple, went to the arcade, walked around in the 7-Eleven. The fact that there was a 7-Eleven right outside just helped to cement the song in my head for the rest of the day. The next day, we ended up in a quiet part of Kyoto. We had thought that this was a tourist attraction, and that it was a tourist attraction all year round. However, it was not, as there was no one around. I shot this picture of a man crossing a bridge that we saw on the tourist pages. In this neighborhood, there were two schools, one an elementary and the other a high school. An elementary school girl was staring at us from down the street with her soccer ball at her feet. She then came up to us, running down the street. She said hello, and we said hello back. I then asked if she played soccer, to which she replied yes, and I asked if she wanted to play. We kicked the ball a few times, and then we parted, as she wished us to have a nice day. This was the sweetest memory for me on the trip. Most of the people were focused in their own world, but we got to experience small world life in Japan, just by getting lost. I didn't record, but the next day we went to the monkey park just outside the city. Unfortunately, it was closed due to the snow that had come through. Instead, Yuhi and I made it back to the city and went to the anime museum, which we were not allowed to record. Later in the day, we made our way to the shopping district. This is where I would buy my Japanese jeans at a shop called Rogers, which also happened to be my new favorite pair of jeans. Here, I took some fairly good pictures as well. We walked the streets at night for a place to eat, and we ended up finding a traditional restaurant that it only had Japanese people inside. The restaurant was still affordable, particularly for Kyoto, which had been a more expensive city than Tokyo. Afterwards, we ate at another restaurant, and it was time to head back towards Haneda Airport via Shinkansen. And with this, it brings the end of part 2 of my video series. I wanted to thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.
後ろに気をつけなって言ったはずだぜ。タネ、まだ血用じゃ。こいつはデリンジャー人だ。この前こいつを食らわした野郎は死ぬのに丸2日かかった。苦しみに苦しんで最後は出血多量で死んだんだ。つまりおめえは月曜の夕飯時までに死ぬってことよ。
どこのどなたか存じませんけど、ダンスをしてます。
お、すげえべっぴんが出てきたじゃねえか。このレディに紹介してくんな。ダンスがしてんだ。お前を紹介する気はさらさらない。クスクスせずに打ったらどうだ。よく
やめてやめて、私こちらと踊りますわ。
じゃあ俺たちが踊ってる間、鍛冶屋と一緒